Well, it was Christmas and I got this thing. And it's a phonograph from His Master's Voice, number 69, with the one issue that it doesn't wind. So that should suggest a broken spring, and we're about to find out how badly it's broken. If it's broken somewhere near the inner or outer end, I can fix that. If it's broken right in the middle, then I'll have to buy a new one, and I do not know where to get one. So it's a bit of a mystery, but everything else would be boring, right? So let's dig into this thing. I see this thing comes as a kit with some nice little additional parts. Well, let's hope they're not too critical to the function of this. These are probably the ones that actually should hold the plate in. And then there's these two machine screws. I don't know what they're for yet, but we'll find out soon enough. What's interesting, what's inside these, a whole lot of nothing of course, but then there's this, which I don't know what it's for. It might be a tachometer or the housing for a tachometer, for a car or a bicycle, or some kind of counting device, I don't know. And there's more screws, which I don't know how relevant they are for the workings of this thing. And then, of course, this has been used as a dump for loads of old gramophone needles. This is the speed regulating mechanism. You can see how this tab moves in and out as I regulate over here. And this is the start-stop mechanism, which notices the position of the tone arm and kicks the brake shoe in upon reaching a certain point. The motor itself is held in with 3 screws, I guess. Well, this thing is pretty beat up. You can see it's not only dirty, but there's also quite a lot of corrosion on here. Governor has a lot of play. And then there's this shaft here. Can you see that? That's quite significant. Someone has already been in here and mangled these screws. Lots and lots of old grease. Okay, so this here is the carrier which the crank engages onto and which winds the spring from the inside. You can see here there's a notch. Alright, and that notch is supposed to grip into a tab on the spring. And I can see that, well, the tab is there. Here's the end of the spring. But it's not bent upwards like it's supposed to be at an angle so it can engage. But it's actually lying flat in there. And here's the spring. Now you can see the end of the spring here with the hook, or where the hook is supposed to be, and it has bent flat. So now we've got to get the spring out of here. Always use gloves, these can be quite sharp, and of course it's a spring, so it's likely to be under tension. You just grab yourself a length. And try pull it over the next one like that, so it stays out there. And then you basically do that in one continuous motion, alright? So you can see it wants to pop out again. Always keep hold of it and slowly let it rotate around. The next one here. Try and keep it under control. And here you've got your spring. I cannot see any cracks, so I'm thinking we can just bend this tab back over again so it engages with the claw here, and we might just be ready to run this thing again. That may actually be enough already. It's becoming obvious that I'm not the first one to have a go at this, which you see by this nice little rivet, which is actually a nail when you look at it. It's got the usual cross pattern on it, which is typical for a nail. Now I'm fine with that, it's probably not going to fail. That rivet here is quite substantial. But whoever did this, I don't know. I'm going to cut this off. You can see that this section here is still blued and thereby is soft and easy to work with. I'm going to cut this right here, as I'm quite afraid this will rip somewhere soon. The aim here is to drill sort of a hole which is small on one end and larger on the other end. The head of the rivet is around 9 millimeters, and then the shank of the rivet, we'll make that 4.
By looking in your eyes, I surmise that this is my chance. I can see this will be a heavy romance. Come on, because I can't resist you. I won't be happy till I've kissed you. Come on, because I can't resist you. Oh, baby, come on. When I'm beside you, my heart is gone. Come on, because we constantly guide you. Oh,
that ought to work. Now, before we grease this spring up and install it in there, I want to do a trial assembly and see if the rivet will actually catch on this notch we cut as it's supposed to. And in order to do that, first of all, I marked me which rotation the spring goes in. And then you have to wind it in there a little bit earlier than actually where the rivet is. You can see I'm putting it in right here. And then force it in a turn or so that it actually lays flat in here. It's a little bit hard to see with all the shadows. And then you can rotate it manually until you see the rivet, alright? There the rivet caught on its major diameter. Now we try to slide it even further. As you can see, maybe it's not fully home yet. It's about halfway. So we'll have to do a little bit more filing in order to get it where we want to. Now you can see the notch is all the way home. You can see the rivet is right there and the larger portion is over there. before we pursue any further, I'm going to grease the barrel at least, and then we can install the spring all the way.
Come on. If the nightingales could sing like you, that sing much sweeter than they do, for you've brought a new kind of love to me. If the Sandman brought me dreams of you, I'd want to sleep my whole life through, for you've brought a new kind of love to me. I know that I'm the slave, you're the queen, but still you can understand that underneath it all, you're a maid, and I am only a man. I would work and slave the whole day through if I could hurry home to you, for you've brought a new kind of love to me.
Well, it's time to make a decision, and that's regarding the play in this shaft here. You can see that's how it's supposed to sit, and over time it's worn itself away. It meshes with this gear here, which drives the plate. And I think we have to drill it out, because when I press it in all the way how it's supposed to be, it's very quiet, but when I put it out, you can hear it's a lot louder, and it also wants to bind on me. So there's really no way around this. I mean, it would work most likely, but it's just not doing it any good with that much play in there.
trance. 11:30 Saturday night. In my arms I held a world of charms. 11:30 Saturday night. At 8 my fate had just begun. It grew quite late before love had won. Oh, can't you see she's accepted me? 11:30 Saturday